Hey, we are the Conservative Gamers, and I am Frozo, and this is the Jurassic Shotgun.
Hey.
And today we are going to be talking about that bull sewage known as the Game Awards 2015. You better believe it. Or should I call it the SJW Awards 2015, don't you think?
Yeah, it'd probably be more accurate ever since like the last 2-3 years.
Okay, the guy that's over is Jeff Keeley, aka the Dorito Pope, and he has probably been over it since the beginning, and he's trying to do like iteration after iteration after iteration of it. Like, they used to have these bad actors come on and make fun of gamers, basically, which was terrible, and then he started the new iteration of it last year. And this year it's had a very liberal approach to it. One of their people they partnered with for this show was Polygon, and we know how that is.
Yeah, I'm surprised that Polygon has not been blacklisted like Kotaku has, because I know Bethesda and at least one other company, I can't remember who it was, have actually blacklisted Kotaku from reporting on it.
Jeff Keeley is known to be a very liberal person, borderline in SJW if he isn't one. And just proof enough was, before the Game Award 2015 show started, they had a preview, which was 30 minutes long. And in this preview, 2 minutes in, they had a member of Polygon, which was this woman, and she was going like, oh, I play games with my girlfriend. And it was like, you've already alienated conservatives right there 2 minutes in. They are not even trying to hide the bias anymore. It's just like, conservatives, we don't want you here, just leave.
And, I've heard from people outside of that, too, that same message from Wizards of the Coast and other gaming companies. They used to be center-left or, pretty neutral. And over the last 5 to 3 years, they've just gone completely leftist. And radically so.
It's like, you have 4 areas. You have extreme right, left, extreme left. I would call us just right. I wouldn't call us extreme right. We're not like video game haters. If you're going to be one of the two, you don't want to be on the extreme sides. What the game industry has become is the extreme left.
There are other, industries been hit by this hard, most notably comic books and also literature. Hence the sad puppies and rabid puppies movements, which are essentially the Gamergate of sci-fi and fantasy literature. They have had major success over in their fields as well, as much as Gamergate has almost.
Now, following this woman from Polygon, we had Justine for a few seconds kind of giving feminism gibberish, like saying, this past year has had more women in games and it's made me feel better because I'm a woman. And that's basically self-explanatory. I don't think we need to go into too much detail about that. The next topic, and the elephant in the room here, is Her Story, which is a hardcore feminist game, which won Best Narrative and Best Performance. That makes no sense. Like, these are fan voting type situations. So how did SJW games get this? Did gamers just give up and not vote? Did the feminists and SJWs come in swarms, or what?
Conservative gamers are shamed or intimidated, rather, out of discussions, into silence. Or a lot of times you will see in comment sections, every once in a while you see a comment deleted and a whole crap ton of comments after it. That's usually conservatives trying to speak their opinion and getting buried for it. And having those sites, like, the sites they're following, delete their comment. Because that's the unfortunate thing. It's not just an outside movement we're fighting here. It is something that has taken over the game industry from within.
And here's another thing is, even liberals, a lot of them are against this feminist movement type thing going. And Her Story won out Best Performance over Mark Hamill as the Joker.
That is ridiculous. I'm genuinely angry about that. Mark Hamill's Joker is one of the most famous voiceover roles and, duos of all time, as far as Mark Hamill as the Joker. Right up there with Optimus Prime, Peter Cullen, Steve Bloom as Spike Spiegel, and a bunch of other things. It is one of the most famous ones ever, and the fact that they would outdo him for SJW crap is ridiculous.
Like, I think there's a possibility that these votings were rigged, because I just don't see this game winning any award, let alone 2.
Well, it happened last year, too. 2014, they released Dragon Age Inquisition, which I was really looking forward to. It turned out to be an SJW fest, ruined one of my favorite game franchises, obviously being Dragon Age. And they said that if Bayonetta 2 won Game of the Year, some of those people actually said they would leave the game industry. So that's how bad it's gotten.
And I've played Bayonetta 2, although it can be controversial. And the gameplay for that game is what you call perfect.
I would agree, I am a connoisseur of action games. Devil May Cry, Ninja Gaiden, all those guys. Bayonetta, I did not like the premise, which is a witch fighting angels with demonic power. but this was made by Hideo Kojima, and Hideo Kojima directed Resident Evil 2 and was the director and creator of the original Devil May Cry. He invented this genre, the extreme action game genre.
Actually, I don't think he was directly over Bayonetta 2 like he was the first one. During the
Right.
Bayonetta 2 development, he was working on the Wonderful 101, which was another amazing action game.
True, but Bayonetta 1, I played some of that though, and that is definitely the gold standard pinnacle of action game control and polish right now. Mechanically, it's perfect.
Our next topic to talk about is Games for Change, which was an award that started at last year's Game Awards. And this is basically an SJW award, which is for whichever game is the most liberal, basically. Last year, a game that wasn't very liberal, I don't think I haven't played it, was a World War One game about the dog one. I can't remember what it's called. I've never played it.
About the what?
It was a World War One game about a dog, I think. I cannot remember the name. I'll post it on the video so everybody can see it. But the one that won it this year is a Square Enix game called Life is Strange. And the reason it won it is because like the main character was like a college female.
I did see some of that. I have heard a lot of stuff against it as far as it being quite liberal, and I have seen some cutscenes from it, and it is. There was some parts to it, like, it really kind of got people ticked off. I'm not sure if they're serious or not about it. There was a point in that game where the girl says that she believes in gun control just only for men. And later on, she shoots some sheet metal and it hits her in the leg. So I'm not sure if they were trying to show how she's transforming as a character from something really snotty into something not. I don't know that much about the game. What I do know is that it has gathered a lot of hate towards it.
There's not a problem with women in games. There's been women in games since Metroid. The problem is they want every game character to basically be a woman now.
Well, not so much every game character to be a woman as just, they want their ideology version of feminism to be the driving force behind the game. It has to be okayed by them. And if it's not, they'll find a way to whine about it.
Now the next topic, which is actually a good thing that I want to talk about, was they had like a tribute where Reggie Fils-Aimé talked about Iwata, and then they had a song play afterwards. The slideshow was kind of pathetic. They could have done a better video than that. But it was respectful to Iwata that they had this tribute to him.
And I knew the name, but I never knew exactly how much Iwata had done until actually after his death people started talking about him again. This man has single-handedly pretty much presided over Nintendo for its greatest hits, in its greatest eras of gaming, in overseeing the best games that Nintendo's ever put out. Ocarina of Time, the Metroid Prime trilogy, all these great stuff. It is such a tragedy to see such a great talent go, though.
I think he was only the fourth president to ever be over Nintendo in their 126-year history. So presidents for Nintendo stayed president for very long periods of time, and I'm sure he would have been president for decades more if he could have lived to, and he was probably one of the best innovators in the game industry, so it was sad to see him go, and I'm happy he got the respect he had. The last topic I want to talk about is something else I believe they did correctly, which was where Jeff Keeley talked about Hideo Kojima, how Konami did not let him show up to accept an award for Metal Gear Solid 5. That was pathetic and disgraceful on Konami's part, and I'm glad that Jeff Keeley actually mentioned that.
I've kind of been following this for a while now. Hideo Kojima, as many people know, is one of the visionaries of gaming. There is not a single Metal Gear game that is a bad game, although you may, like me, disagree with the politics and philosophy of the game itself. They are all extremely polished experiences. Have some of the most creative and best gameplay and moments in those games in all of gaming. What happened was that he somehow had a falling out with Konami. They knew he was their golden boy, but they wanted to kick him out. So essentially they rushed Metal Gear Solid 5, so it's not even really complete at launch. But they also canceled the highly anticipated Silent Hills, which was a collaboration between Kojima, one of my favorite movie directors, Guillermo del Toro, and Norman Reedus, who plays one of the main characters in The Walking Dead.
Daryl.
Yeah, that's right, Daryl. I'm sorry, I have not seen anything past the first season of Walking Dead. I meant to, never really got to do so.
It became liberal with later seasons, very liberal.
I wouldn't know. I haven't heard that. But they were planning on doing this, and they canceled it out of nowhere. And not only to cancel it, Konami has become outright vindictive towards Kojima. They took off the demo called PT off of PlayStation Store, and they took Kojima's name off of his own game. So if you actually look at the case for MGS5, Kojima's name is not on the case. They also went so far as to, a fan sent Kojima some artwork over Twitter, and Konami censored it and declared it copyright, which is absolutely ridiculous. It was on Kojima's Twitter feed. and they censored it. It's gotten outright vindictive at Konami, and they've completely destroyed their company. Also, a lot of stuff has come out about them, poor working conditions, and just it's horrible what's happened to their workers.
Yeah, they can get like demoted to be like janitor and stuff like that.
Yeah, they have horrible hours, just overworked even for Japanese, who already have a very strong work ethic. And all this, it's ridiculous. We've had this giant that was one of the classic game companies just come crashing down in like 2 or 3 years.
And that's about it. The Game Awards 2015 should just be called the SJW Awards 2015. There was some fishy stuff going on. Her story got more than it should have. Polygon should not have been involved. And the entire thing was an SJW fest. And which is sad because this is way not just the gaming industry is going, but the entire world, which is basically just shunning conservatives. Wouldn't you say?
Yeah, the game industry right now, and pretty much all of the entertainment industry right now is a joke as far as what's going on behind the scenes.
And if you enjoyed the video, give us a like, make sure to share it out, and leave us a comment below on what you think about it. And until next time, we'll tip our hats off to you.